If you were put in front of a formation like this, would you just die?
So this was a great question by that creator. Would the soldiers on the front line just die every battle? Answering for the medieval period, as I'm sure every era is slightly different, it's a yes and a no, because you were in the riskiest position on the battlefield, but it wouldn't be a guaranteed death sentence. As medieval warfare evolved, it became a rich man's game, and it was the knights who wanted to be on the front lines, as that was their best chance of glory and to perform great deeds of arms, which would be written about in the chronicles, which would boost their egos massively. And these wealthy knights had the best armour and weapons available to them for the time, and they'd have full confidence in their equipment and their ability that they'd be able to defend against whatever the enemy throws at them, and it would be their expectation that they wouldn't die. And even if they were defeated on the battlefield, they were unlikely to be killed, as they knew it was far more profitable for the enemy to take them prisoner and then ransom them for huge sums. As much as Hollywood likes to portray it, a battle wasn't two armies facing off at each other in one-on-one duels until one army had killed the entirety of the other. It was more like two lines brawling against each other, where there'd be few casualties of one line hoping to break the other, and once that one line does break, it causes a chain reaction amongst the rest of their army, as panic's contagious, with that one army then fleeing. It was during the rout where most of the casualties and chaos took place. As one army's fleeing, they're taking off all of their heavy equipment in order to run faster, hoping not to be chased down by the enemy's cavalry and penetrated by a giant member in the back. And having your army rout was essentially the worst thing that can happen to it, as the battle for you is now lost. And with a bunch of untrained peasants in the front line who haven't been trained since childhood like the knights, they'd get a lot more scared at the thought of battle and flee rather quickly. And that's why you put your knights on the front line. Of course, there has been cases in history where peasant armies have defeated superiorly trained ones, such as at the Battle of Golden Spurs in 1302, when a bunch of peasants defeated the flowerhood of French chivalry with a great defensive position, sharpened stakes, and of course ditches, because as the medieval annals tell us, if you make ditches, you get bitches. Even if you do have your knights on the front line though, they are of course at the most vulnerable to ranged attacks, and sometimes they didn't have the best of times, as no mercy was shown for their knightly status. But as the age of knights faded and the standing armies became the norm, soldiers did actually sometimes get more money for being on the dangerous position of the front lines. The German mercenaries during the era of pike and shot, the Landsknechts, and I probably mispronounced that so apologies, had something called Doppelsoldners, literally meaning double pay soldiers, because they volunteered to fight on the front lines and received double pay for it. Which was rather risky, as you're on the front lines and might die, but if you're dead, you don't need any money, but if you survive the battle, you'd have double money.